Getting close to a year removed from Superstorm Sandy, there's still a lot of people wondering what they can do for themselves, and here to talk about it today is Robert Hardwig. Robert, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So one of the first questions I'm wondering is, what are some of the lessons that we have learned from Superstorm Sandy?
There are a lot of lessons to be learned from Sandy. We're still digesting the full effect of those lessons. But the reality is this: although the private insurance sector paid nearly $19 billion in claims to 1.5 billion policyholders, believe it or not, there were still quite a few people, homeowners and businesses, that did not have enough coverage or the right types of coverage. Sandy is the type of event we should expect to see more of in the future, a combination event where we see wind, but we also see tremendous water damage and flooding damage. We saw this in 2008 with Hurricane Ike in Texas and with Katrina back in 2005 in New Orleans. So what it means is that if you live anywhere near the coast of the United States, or for that matter in river areas and so forth, you need to have flood coverage. And you need to make sure that also, if you're a business, you have business interruption coverage that will tide you over for your lost profits and the extra expenses that you incur when an event like this happens. So that's very, very important. And we know that, in fact, a high proportion of businesses will fail if, in fact, they do not have this business interruption coverage.
So what are hurricane deductibles?
Yeah, what happens is in every state from Maine down through Texas, if a hurricane comes up the coast and in fact impacts the coast, a different deductible applies relative to your standard deductible. Everybody has a fixed deductible, $500, maybe $1,000 on their homeowner's policy. If it in fact is a hurricane or some kind of tropical event, a deductible that is a percentage of the insured value of your property kicks in instead. So to give you an example, if your home is insured for $100,000, maybe you have a $500 deductible, but if you have a hurricane deductible of 2%, that deductible would then be $2,000 in the event of a hurricane.
Sure. So a lot of people also wondering, what is the strength of financial strength of the insurance space right now? This was a question that came up in the mid-2000s as well, when we had so many storms hitting Florida and Texas. Yep.
Absolutely, and the industry passed that test with flying colors. 2004, 2005 produced the record losses in the United States. Yeah. 2011, we saw those record losses on a global scale. And but as we entered the 2013, the peak of the hurricane season, despite several very severe years for catastrophe losses, the property casualty insurance industry here in the U.S. enters the peak of hurricane season at its highest level of claims paying capacity in its history. Despite those record or near record losses over the past several years. So the industry is extremely strong financially and prepared to answer whatever Mother Nature has to throw our way.
All right, Bob. Well, we appreciate it so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For The Street, I'm Deaux.